Hi, Stu.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Doing good, thank you.
I'm feeling a lot better today than I was yesterday.
Oh, do you get a touch of it?
The whole family has managed to catch COVID at the same time.
Yeah.
My son is visiting from Singapore, and I know he didn't bring it here because we all came down with symptoms at the same time. It was probably after going out to a couple of restaurants and stuff. Oh well.
Yeah, Melanie's family's the same way.
All triple vaccinated, and all presumably healthy before. So I think we're getting over it. But it can put you down for a day or two. That's for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was a good thing for Tegan because she can't get the booster, but then it's probably going to be all of us. So I'm not so great about that.
Yeah, I heard one of the commentators on TV say that Omicron is a gift because it means even those people who chose not to get vaccinated are going to forcibly get immunity, whether they want it or not. So it's probably the fact that it's fairly mild in most cases is a saving grace.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Right. I thought I could avoid it by keeping the kids in their room, but I woke up with a sore throat this morning, so I don't have high hopes.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't go to my doctor, but I did telemessage him, and he told me I could get a in-home infusion for $950. They'd come here and they do it, which they did yesterday, and I finished it. And then I went, I looked up on the web, and it said that the approved monoclonal antibodies don't work against Omicron. So, waste of time and money.
Right.
But yeah, it's this is one of these things where you're learning about it 2 days after what you need to know.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I think Tegan will test positive for a while, and I don't know when to send her back to school. She hasn't had symptoms for over a week now. So, but
Yeah.
do I send her back to school? I don't know.
Yeah, well, the guidance from the CDC is changing all over the place, but currently it's if you test negative and then 5 days later you test negative again, that's supposedly the time you can re-enter society. It used to be 10 days, but
Right.
they were keeping so many people out of the workforce that I think they decided to change the risk coefficient without any science behind it, but that's another story.
Yeah, I'll have to look at our work policies again to see what they recommend.
So our building here just issued a note to all the residents saying that the general manager and 3/4 of the staff are out either with COVID or quarantining, and don't expect people to respond to your requests right away. I think it's that way across the. I went to an ice cream store a week ago, and there was a sign on the door saying, we don't have staff to be able to open today.
It's how it is everywhere. Stu, it's good to see you back.
Yeah, thank you, Marie.
Good
You
to see
too.
you back. I'm going to give you, when's a good time to give you a call?
Anytime this afternoon. My
Okay,
voice is mainly back.
okay, because I don't want to tire you out, so
No,
I will call,
oh,
if I don't call you today, I'll call you tomorrow. Should I call you tomorrow? Is it better?
tomorrow might be better.
Yeah,
I'm still a little hoarse,
yeah,
but
you don't want to be tired out. I'll call you tomorrow, okay? And we can go over a couple of things, all right?
okay, sounds good. Yeah, you guys are doing unbelievable work. So much energy from everybody. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and the committee is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Awesome committee. I'm very, very happy. I am.
And this is a time when the schools probably need it more than they ever did.
Yeah, I was at Beckley this morning and of course outside and because I'm still not allowed inside and we made some John Williams got some donations for us. So I have a bunch of donations to distribute to all the schools, which is awesome. He said it's probably about $2,000 worth of goods. So it's unbelievable. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, I only wish that the schools didn't have such a need, but
Yeah. And they need more right now. Now's the time more is needed. It's just so sad.
excuse me.
Jim Hunt, are you there? Oh, yes, no.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Jim. Jim, this is Marie. I'm going to call you later on and let you know what I found out at Beckley, okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, Jim, thank you. I want you to know that all of this stuff was delivered by John Williams this morning.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Looks like stuff you can use.
So it's all there. It's unbelievable. We have, John figures it's about $2,000 worth of goods.
Oh, excellent,
So
excellent.
it's awesome. But I'll talk to you later because it's a long conversation.
Okay.
Okay.
I got on the tail end of your conversations. It sounds like, Mel, you're struggling with it, and Stu, you've got it. Is that right?
Well, I've got it along with my wife and my visiting son. So we're a COVID ward here.
Wow.
It's awful.
Yeah, the kids tested positive. My last test was negative, but I woke up this morning with a sore throat. So I don't have high hopes that I've escaped Omicron. It doesn't seem like anybody can escape Omicron, even if you try to quarantine. And we've been wearing masks in the house, but I don't think it helped. So.
And the first sign you thought was the kid's not feeling well? That's what the first test was for, or?
Tegan was exposed. We got notification that she was exposed to a COVID positive. So we went and got her tested, and then she was positive. And then McKenna started having symptoms. And so then we got her tested.
I'm
Yeah.
just wondering. I mean, I just wonder, I feel fine and everything, but if I tested, who knows? I'm maybe, just don't know.
Nobody
Yeah, a
knows.
lot of people are asymptomatic.
Yeah.
All three of us, first symptom was a sore throat, very mild, and then getting so intense that you just couldn't even swallow water.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
No
Wow.
fever. The first thing they do is they test for fever. None of us had any fever, but strong
Yeah.
positive test when we all tested. So
Dan got it and I didn't
Oh,
somehow.
really?
Yeah, amazing.
Stu, did you do a self-test or did you go somewhere to be tested?
we did self-test.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we got a couple kits a month ago before they sold out.
Yeah.
We've been testing at Same Day Health at Town Square.
Good
They're
morning.
great. They have, oops, I guess we gotta be
And
quiet.
welcome to the best Rotary Club in the world. I'm Katie Crockett, filling in for our president, Mike Ballard, who's traveling. Our song leader today is David Jones.
Song leader. Oh, wait.
What's with the phones today?
Thank you, Katie. So I just have to say, homegrown Nevadan. My dad was a homegrown Nevadan. My grandfather was born here. So this song, Home Means Nevada, every time that I hear us sing it, and kudos to Jamie, because she's the one that always sings it. So thank you for doing that. But I noticed that we don't know the words. And since there are a lot of people that are new, it's the state song. So I figured I'd pass out the words to you and you can all sing along. My dad was 8 years old when this song came out, so he learned the words. My grandfather was 40 and he learned the words. I remember growing up hearing them sing these songs all the time. So if my 40-year-old grandfather could learn it, y'all can learn it. Because he had to learn it as well when the song came out. I come from a very musical family, and I am not the one that has the talent. So I'm gonna play the song. Hang on. So they had to learn it in school, and most of us did. So like I've been told many times by my family, very talented family, but what I lack in talent, I make up for in volume. So I'm not good, but I'm loud. So to avoid that, we're gonna sing with Rick Prickrins, and we're gonna start with Home Means Nevada. So I'll start us off. Way out in the land of the setting sun, where the wind blows wild and free, there's a lovely spot, just the only one that means home, sweet home to me. If you follow the old Kit Carson trail until desert meets the hills, oh, you certainly will agree with me. It's the place of 1,000 thrills. Everybody! Home means Nevada, home means the hills, home means the sage and the pine. Thank you. Out by the Truckee silver grills, out where the sun always shines, is the land that I love the best, fairer than all I can see. Right in the heart of the Golden West, home means Nevada to me. Let's do the second verse. Ready? Whenever the close of day. Nice! Where the moon and Bing play in the shadowed glen with the spotted fawn and doe. All the live long night until morning light is the loveliest place I know. Home means Nevada, home means the hills, home means the sage and the pines. Out where the Truckee silver is, out where the sun always shines, there is a land that I love the best, fairer than all I can see. Right in the heart of the Golden West, home means Nevada to me. We're gonna need to practice that again. Jamie?
Oh, please don't, Lex.
Hey, save these so next time when Jamie does it, she'll do a better job.
Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank God we got that right. Okay, I'd like to thank the people who helped us set up today. Kathy Mahan and David Talanian did set up. Carolyn Sparks and Sarah Thornton were our greeters. David Jones for the song today. and Will Abbott for the invocation. Raffle ticket sales were Jamie Goldsmith and Arlene Serwa. Our Sergeant at Arms today is Bill Sterin. Barbara Castro and Austin Wyrick are going to do tear down, and our scribe today is Susan Ziobro, and Jim Tucker is our photographer. And AV team is Kirk Alexander. Thank you. We have our next year's district governor is visiting us today, Roger Gutierrez, and I'd like to have him have the microphone and make an announcement. Right behind you.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie. Katie, I found out something that you were the first woman president of this club.
Yes, I was, and they're making me do it again.
Well, that's great. You have something common with our incoming president during your year. And next year, we'll be working together. Jennifer Jones is the first woman president of Rotary International after 115 years. So congratulations again. And with that, just today, but just a couple hours ago, the theme for next year is Imagine Rotary. And that is the theme for 22-23. And it was just announced. So we're going to do a lot with that. And you think about it. And there's a song I remember John Lennon sang, Imagine. And that's going to be part of the theme song for next year as well. So, and congratulations. Looking forward to next year. You're celebrating 100 years, your centennial anniversary. Looking very much forward to it. So congratulations, Gans. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Thanks for being here today. Do we have any visiting Rotarians today? Or guests of Rotarians? Oh, we do have visiting Rotarians. We do.
Introduce myself? Okay. My name is Vicki Abbott. I'm from the Rotary Club of West Covina. And I am going to be the executive aide to your incoming district governor, Roger Gutierrez. So,
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
and I'm very glad to be here. This is a very friendly, outgoing, open club. I love it. Thank you.
Thanks. Do we have guests of Rotarians today?
Yes.
I'm delighted to introduce two guests to the club, Jose and Rose Gonzalez, and they are in the insurance industry and looking at what our club does. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Today we have Christine Luby. She's visiting with us again, interested in membership and checking into what we do.
And I think Jim Cole over here has guests.
President-elect Katie and my fellow Rotarians, it's my pleasure today to have Kelly Sheehan from the Heaven Can Wait Animal Shelter here today.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, our announcements. Oh, we have our elementary school people here from Bracken. Kathy Mahan.
Hi, Marie's not here today, and we're co-chairman. So today we're welcoming Hollingsworth and Bracken, and we're actually giving Bracken a check today, I think slightly later in the program.
Yes.
And let me give the microphone to Stanek, and she can tell you a little bit about what's going on at Bracken.
Hello, everyone. Again, thank you for having us here. It's always a pleasure to see you, and pleasure is even bigger today when we receive some money for our school. So we are extremely excited to be given $2,500 to be able to replace our hydroponic system. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We do a lot of hands-on learning at Bracken, and hydroponics was on hold because it was beyond repair. So this money will definitely come in handy so that we can continue to provide our students with hands-on learning. So once again, from us to you, thank you.
And Rose will introduce Hollingsworth.
And my school is Hollingsworth. So today we have Connie, who is the office manager, and Vanessa, who is one of their counselors.
Hi. Hello. Thank you for having us. It's an honor to be here. And we love you guys and everything you do for our school. So it's an honor to be here.
And I just wanted to take a minute to tell you just a little story about Hollingsworth. I've been at Hollingsworth since we were a pile of dirt back in 2003 and have had the privilege and the honor to be a part of the building for all these many years. And I'll be retiring from Hollingsworth in June. So I get to say whatever I want to say, okay? But I will tell you, back in the spring of 2017, I had a beautiful young woman come bouncing into my office. And she said, "Hi, my name is Katie Decker, and I'm your new principal. So I need about 2 hours of your time, and I'm going to tell you what we're going to do." So we closed my door. We sat for 2 hours. I was smart enough to get a notebook out. And she told me the first thing we're going to do is paint the inside of this building because kids need a happy place to go every day. Just like adults, you know, you decorate your cubby, you decorate your office. Well, these kids have no say in how the district decides to build these buildings in our nice plain gray. So we painted some first couple of walls, and she gave me a list of what's going to go on those walls right away. So the first thing was the Hollingsworth logo, which of course would be appropriate. The second thing was the Rotary Creed. Now, I'm like, okay, Katie, but we're not a business. We're not Rotarians, but hey, you're my boss, whatever you say. So on one of the main walls in Hollingsworth is your wheel, thank you, and the various statements. And the kids who come to school every day, they see that every day. They see that the community really believes in the things that you've tried to teach us. Over the years, I don't want to bore you with, because you probably already know, all the many, many, many wonderful things that you've done for us. And I'm not sure if sometimes just saying thank you for this really tells you how deep a gift that you give us goes. One of the first things that you did for us was you paid for all of my teachers to attend the Crayola training. And it's like, wow, we're going to teach teachers how to color. But the truth is, it was a lesson in how to bring color into the lives of our children and how to do it through a simple box of 8 colors. And I'll tell you, many of those teachers have already gone on to retirement or whatever, but they'd never forgotten that first lesson. And we had that first lesson because of you. So thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, and I do, all right, you're making me go away. I will tell you that on your tables, you'll see a couple of thank you notes. You were kind enough to send a group of our students to Rotary Santa. And the kids just wanted in their own way to say thank you for those. And if you'd like to just take that back to your office and hang it up on the wall or share it with your companies, it's just our very small way of saying thank you.
Thank you. Tony Kern has an announcement.
I think she just ran away.
Green Our Planet? Yes. Okay, Green Our Planet. In the Green Book, there are 2 pages circulating with Green Our Planet, the 2 projects I mentioned last week. Want to make sure we get people volunteering. The 2 projects involve the farmers market, which is on April 22nd. I don't have any of the specific details yet. They were meeting last week or yesterday, as a matter of fact, I'm sorry. So we'll have more details on the time and the specifics. And as we keep moving forward as to what our job is going to be, because it's all going to be volunteer work, physical labor of helping to set up and doing whatever is needed at the farmer's market. We will have a booth promoting Rotary, so we will deal with that and work and get that created. And on the 8th of April, there is the garden party. It's a pop-up dinner. We will be involved in manning the entry of people, getting the guests situated, auction redemption. So be sure you sign up in the Green Book or come see me or send me an email. We'd like to have at least 20 volunteers for each of the segments. So there's a April 21 setup, April 22 morning and the rest of the day. And April 8th is morning and evening. It'll be great events. And this is going to be, or is intended to be, an annual thing. And we will be the volunteer sponsor for this event with all marketing collateral and advertising, including our name. So sign up.
Thanks, Tony. We have Renee Gamero is on Zoom, and he has an announcement about a couple projects we're working on.
Yes. Hi, Katie. Thank you. Hopefully you can hear me okay. The first is on February 17th. We have the four-way speech contest. Can you hear me okay?
Very lightly. Hold on a
Let
second.
me speak up here.
There you go.
Okay, so we have a couple of events regarding youth programs. On February 17th, we have our four-way speech contest that will be held there at the club. So far, we have 2, maybe 3 participants, but I'm making this announcement because if any of you have a high schooler that would like to participate in a four-way speech contest, I would please ask that you reach out to myself or Sean or regarding signing up and making sure that they are able to participate. Personally, gave a four-way speech contest back in 1994, and it was such a memorable experience. I highly recommend it for everyone in high school. Other is February 24th. We have our Dan Stover competition in which Judith Pinkerton is heading up, in which we will have our music competition there, and that's underway February 24th. If you have someone that would be interested, please reach out to myself or Judith. Thank you.
Thanks, Renee.
Actually, one more thing, if I may. We also, by the end of this month, we need to start submitting names for sophomores and juniors that would be interested in attending RILA. So far, it's still underway. We know all of everything that's happening regarding the virus everywhere, but as of this moment, it is still happening. And so we're taking names for sophomores and juniors that would be interested in attending that in Cedar Creek in California. Reach out to myself for anyone that is interested. Will help you get them signed up. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Karen Wisenhunt.
Again. Well, like everything with the pandemic, everything can change day to day. And last week I announced that we would not be hosting a team of boys from France for the Mayor's Cup. The next day we were back on again. And so anyway, we will be hosting 18 to 20 boys. They still have, American Soccer Association still has a travel ban on, but they said they're coming anyway. So Roger Tabor has requested an exemption for them to play. If they are unable to play in the tournament, then we will have exhibition games for them so that they'll still be able to play soccer. So thank you to this club and the Downtown Rotary Club for stepping up to host the boys. I think we're almost there. We got one more family yet to confirm. And other than that, we have enough host families. So thank you to the club for supporting the event.
Thanks, Karen, for heading that up. Kathy, do you want to come up and do the presentation to Bracken, please?
Thank you, President Katie. We're giving a check today to, where's the check? We're giving a check today to Bracken School for $2,500, I'm sorry, no, for $1,250 for their hydroponic garden to get the pump fixed so they can get it back in action, because Bracken's participating in that market garden thing that we're going to be volunteering. And so make sure you watch out for Bracken's carrots and greens because they're usually very good.
So again, thank you so much. We're really appreciative and we're going to put this to good use. Thank you so much.
In a minute. James Cole. You have a check presentation for Heaven Can Wait.
President-elect Katie and my fellow Rotarians, I'm super happy to be here with Kelly from Heaven Can Wait, and on behalf of Howard Howard and the Las Vegas Rotary Foundation, I'm happy to present her with a check for $2,500.
So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Matt, also from Howard and Howard. Thank you, everyone at the Rotary Club. Because of donors like you, we're able to provide spay and neuter services to the over 200,000 frisky community kitties that we have here in Las Vegas Valley, and also provide low-cost veterinary services for families who need it to keep pets out of shelters, off streets, and with their families. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim, to Howard and Howard for your generosity. Barbara Castro, you have a 25 Club announcement.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to thank Rose. We hosted the 25 Club social at her house last week, and we had a good turnout. I think it was 15 or 17 people there. And we're already starting to raise money for the food can drive. That'll be, we want to go strong. So we're already starting raising money for that. And what else did we do? I'm sorry, I'm talking for Bhavin today, who's supposed to be here. So I'm just kind of thinking what else we did there. What else did we do?
Rose cooked a lovely dinner for everyone.
Yes, she did. She hosted. She's a great host. We've already been there twice already. You missed it. So anyways, I wanted to just let you guys know we're having more socials. We're trying to do more fun things. Next social is going to be at Antoinette's house in February. We're going to do, I think, possibly a blackjack little thing there. We're not really sure how it's going to go, but it's going to be fun. We're trying to make socials more fun at 25 Club. Please come. And thank you.
Okay, Bill, I'm going to give you a break. Why don't you give the microphone to Jamie Goldsmith since we're talking about canned food drives?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your donations last week to the district Valentine's Day food drive. We raised $80. We have the cans on the tables again today. So if you have any cash that you want to donate, we will check the cans after the meeting. We also have a sign-up sheet in the green book that you can make your donation that way and your account will be charged. We will only be doing this through the end of January because we will be presenting a check to Major Barnes on February 10th when District Governor Betsy is here. So if you have any ideas of how we could raise some more money, I have enlisted my Leadership Las Vegas class to make some donations. So anything that you can contribute is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Do we not also have a match on that?
Oh, thank you. Our amazing president, Mike Ballard, has offered to match up to $1,000. So that's pretty cool. So please make sure that you donate. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Jim Tucker, Super Bowl.
Okay, guys, it's that time of year.
they haven't determined who's playing on the AFC and the NFC yet. But each week I update the board with the names, and we're doing pretty good. We sold half the squares in one meeting. You have to go till February 13th is Super Bowl day, and it's $50 a square. There's 500 prize money going for the first 3 quarters, and then $1,000 for the final score. And all the numbers for the different quarters, I'll pull them randomly and put them on the board at the last meeting. So please join us. $2,500 goes to our foundation.
Thank you. Is John Pally here today? John very generously has donated 2 tickets to My Fair Lady at the Smith Center next week. And I believe it's January 27th, isn't it, Sean? Okay. They are orchestra center seats. They're really, really good seats. So I would like to auction these off. Would anyone like to start the bidding at, let's start at 100. Okay, there's 100 back there. 125. 150. That's how much one ticket is. So anybody else? $175. Susan? 200. Anybody else? 225. Anybody else? $225. Thank you very much. We have an induction today. Tony, we come and welcome our new member, Larry Cohn. Hi, Rosalie.
You got to check him out a little bit, huh?
I did.
Thank you. Me first, then you. Oh, gee. Oh, gee. And you go over there. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to induct Larry Cohn today as a new member into the Las Vegas Rotary Club, the greatest club in the world. And Rosalie, if you would please introduce Larry to the club.
Certainly. Hello, everyone. So it is my pleasure to introduce Larry. Actually, Bob Werner and I ran into him at a chamber event. And so he kind of asked us what we do in the community. And immediately we started talking about Rotary. So then he wanted to find out more about it. And so we invited him to a luncheon. And here he is today with Tony and Tina's talent of recruiting him. So a little bit about him is he is the president of the Business Process Automation Company. He creates efficient business processes for any business, any size, any industry. He got to Las Vegas with his wife by way of a friend. They visited about 6 years ago, took a little tour of Sun City, fell in love with it, and decided to move to Las Vegas. He's now been here for 1.5 years. Prior to being here, he was in the San Fernando Valley from 1962 to 1988. Then Orange, or City of Orange, Orange County from 1988, where he spent 30 years. His local affiliations are the Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce, and he's now president of his local HOA in Sun City. His past affiliations, he has been treasurer for 2 different trade associations. He sits on 3 community charitable foundations, City of Orange Library Foundation, president of the Santiago College or Canyon College, and former treasurer of Community Foundation of Orange. So Larry, would you do us the pleasure of telling us a little bit about yourself as well?
First, glad to be here, and I look forward to working with everybody here and for the good of the community and the good of the members of the community. Having moved here originally, or moved to California in 1962, we settled in the San Fernando Valley, and I proceeded to go through all of my education there and graduated from Cal State Northridge with a bachelor in business administration, real estate finance. Worked in technology ever since 1984, back when hard drives were 70 pounds and the speed of a computer is about 1/100th of the phone that's in your pocket. I have really focused on technology, and as technology grows, I find only the best solutions that help organizations get more out of their people and more efficiency out of their processes. In my personal life, my wife and I are married 31 years. I have 4 children and 9 grandchildren. Spread out mostly in California, and my older son in Minnesota with his family, and they wear a lot of jackets there. I visit on spring and fall. I've enjoyed working with all the foundations that I've participated in the city of Orange for over 20 years. We've helped many students at the college level, food challenged, and the community foundation raised money for veterans and schools and any other seniors and any other population that needed it. And I've been a part of all of those fundraising activities. I mean, it makes me feel good, and it's great to see a smile on someone's face. Also helped build the new Library and History Center in the city of Orange, which is a beautiful building. And if you ever get down there, it's worth taking a stop in and seeing the history section of the entire community of Orange, which is over 130 years old now. So anyway, I'd love to get to know everyone here, and thanks for accepting me as a member of this Rotary, and I'll look forward to participating as much as I possibly can.
Over there. Now's the actual induction. So Larry, the principles, responsibilities, and obligations of Rotary have been explained to you, and you have expressed your willingness to become a Rotarian. No one is eligible to become a Rotarian unless in his business or professional life, he endeavors to practice the principles of goodwill and service. You have been approved for membership in this club because we believe you to be a worthy representative of your vocation, interested in the ideals of Rotary, and willing to do your share in translating these ideals into tangible realities, just as you have done in your former community of Orange County, supporting school students, college students, needy children, and veterans' causes. You have agreed to accept the obligations attached to your membership in this club and to obey the club's constitution and bylaws. While membership in Rotary is an honor and a privilege, it involves corresponding obligations. An important requirement of membership is attendance at weekly meetings. We know it's not always easy to make every meeting, but it's busy people who are generally eligible for membership in this club. One of the great privileges of Rotary is fellowship and the mutual confidence which it inspires. It is true that if you want to have friends, you must show yourself to be friendly. As an old adage says, no one is interested in what you have to say until you show you are interested in what they say. Therefore, we commit ourselves in doing our part to make you feel welcome. And in return, we expect that you will share the responsibility of development of closer personal relationships, which will be to our mutual benefit. Good Rotarians must constantly keep before them the primary object of Rotary. Service above self is our motto, and Rotary expects each member to live up to this ideal. We know that we will receive much from you in help and service, which will enable us to be better Rotarians. And we most heartily offer you our right hand of Rotary Fellowship. On behalf of the Las Vegas Rotary Club and Rotary International, may I welcome you to our Rotary Wheel, which faces inward for friendship and fellowship and outward in service to our community and to the world. May I ask everyone to please stand? With the presentation of this Rotary pin by your sponsor, Larry, by Rosalie Hedrick, we declare you to be the newest member of the Las Vegas Rotary Club. Congratulations and welcome.
One last thing. I was asked to bring my 68 Firebird, so it's dark outside.
Yeah, he is a car.
Okay. We're going to take a short break now for fellowship.
I think we can safely talk among each other. They can hear us in the room now, but if we're bothering them, they can turn off our audio. So, my son is visiting us briefly. He was supposed to go to California this week for business, but because we're all sick, he's stuck here with us. And we can't do anything other than order takeout to be delivered.
Yeah, you can force a smile. Hey, I got y'all. All right.
Jim Tucker just came and waved tickets in front of my face. He didn't want me to forget to do the raffle. So the number for the raffle today is 8122111. David Jones, our song leader. Well, I got to get the cards out.
My first time. That's right. It's going to you.
Check the card.
Eight of clubs. Yay! Where do I put it?
Right there. Oh. I think you get $10. David? There you go. You got your money back. And the ticket for the Lowry Bucks, 8122081. Bert Reiner. There you go. Turn around. Okay. Greg McGuire is going to come up and introduce our speaker today.
Well, thank you, Katie. So in lieu of introducing the speaker, I thought we would just kind of belt out another couple verses of the Home Means Nevada. Yeah? We're just going to light this room up, okay? Hey, I just booked my first international DJ gig, all right? Thank you, Michael. So everybody's invited to Cabo San Lucas, if you know where that is. So it's my pleasure today to introduce Mr. Mike Howard. Mike is a former chief security officer for Microsoft Corporation. He's responsible for all the basically video security, the operations investigations, executive protection. He did that for 16 years up in Seattle. He led the development of what they call the Microsoft's Interconnected Global Security Operations Center, a GSOC. And that kind of set the model for how large companies do security worldwide now. As we move from an analog to a digital world, it basically became possible to connect all these different security systems. And Mike and his team kind of led that up there with Microsoft. So Mike's done a lot of stuff. He's got a really interesting background. Tarby actually reached out to Mike, I think, and connected with him. And unfortunately, Tarby's gone. Nobody knows where Tarby went. All right. So yeah. And so that's just kind of a thing here because Mike spent 22 years with the Central Intelligence Agency. Tarby's gone, CIA guy in the house. Okay. Yeah. Deny everything. He was also a member of the Office of Military Affairs and special investigator for the Office of the Inspector General. So in my past life, I've been to Langley a few times. I remember one time I took a wrong turn and I ended up down this hall that I shouldn't have been in. And I was wondering when they were going to catch up with me. And so 20 years later, Mike all of a sudden shows up, Tarby disappears, and things are just kind of going the wrong way for Greg McGuire. I probably got about 20 minutes left myself. The only one safe in here, by the way, is Jim Cole with Howard and Howard, because Mike Howard, he said he's going to, he's not going to do any investigation there. And by the way, Jim Tucker, do not let Mike sign up for any of those Super Bowl squares because he already knows who's going to win. All right. Don't do it. All right. Anyway, it's my pleasure to introduce Mike. I appreciate you coming here today, Mike, and take it away.
Thanks, Greg. Well, thanks for having me here. Always love our naval aviator friends, so glad I could be here. First of all, really impressed with how you started off this meeting, with the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance, which obviously you don't really see much anymore. And I think it's really important that you have that as part of your DNA. So I appreciate that. I won't go over too much about my background since Greg's already talked about it, but needless to say, I've had a very interesting career. First as a cop in Oakland, California, when I used to have a big afro and dark hair. Those days are over. And then eventually led me to the CIA and then to Microsoft. I retired from Microsoft officially in 2018 as their chief security officer. And one of the things I always wanted to do was to write a book. Leadership has always been a passion of mine, as it is, I'm sure with all of you, you're all leaders in your own right. So I'm preaching to the choir here. But I took advantage of quarantine to take an old PowerPoint deck that I used to give on leadership at Microsoft, and working with some folks, turned it into this book called The Art of Ronin Leadership. And where the name comes from is I'm half Japanese, and for a vast majority of my life, I was involved in martial arts. And Ronin, if those of you don't know what the word means, it means masterless samurai, right? So back in the ancient days of Japan, before Japan was a centralized entity, these shoguns, the lords, needed to protect their holdings, their lands, so they hired samurai, which were obviously very skilled swordsmen, similar to the gunfighters of our Old West, to protect their holdings. And once Japan became centralized, there was no need because you had an army, a standing army to protect the citizenry. And so you had a bunch of unemployed swordsmen wandering the countryside as swords for hire. And so I got to thinking about, my own journey, and perhaps it's similar to your journey in leadership where, in your formative years, you're kind of growing and learning your business, whatever that business may be. In my case, I started off as a cop and then moved up. And you want to be the best you can at that particular profession. And then at some point, when you make the decision or you are placed into a leadership position, then you start growing your leadership acumen, right? You start learning how to lead people and that kind of stuff. And then at some point, hopefully, if you continue on that road, you'll get to the point where you're pretty much a subject matter expert. You're a leader, and then you will eventually develop your own style of leadership, right? And so, I like to use the word master, but worked under a lot of different bosses over the years. Hopefully, learned from a lot of them, and then eventually you develop your own leadership style. And so then you become kind of masterless, right? You're kind of developing, growing your own sense of leadership and how you continue on that journey. And it is a continuous journey. I won't go death by PowerPoint, even though PowerPoint is a Microsoft product. And we also have a time limit. So let's see, let me advance this. Let's see. Yeah. I love technology. Or is it you? It's probably user. Of course. I'm retired though, so I don't care. Yeah, just do it manually. That's fine. That's fine. All right, that's just a lot about me. I don't want to read anything on it, but if there's anything you get out of what I'm talking about. And if you get a chance to buy the book, you can find it on Amazon, or I have a website, mikehowardauthor.com. But the idea is it's not about you, it's about the people you lead. It's about being selfless, not selfish. And I'll actually get to where I first heard those terms. Okay, you can go. Yeah, I don't like to look at myself anyway. So first lesson. So what I did was I tried to figure out, how am I going to craft this book? And I thought, you know what, I'll just craft it in terms of my experiences in my career, right? And kind of take a look at successes I've had, but probably more mistakes, because you learn more from mistakes than you do from the successes that you have, at least hopefully. So Oakland, California, late 1970s, I'd always wanted to be a cop. I grew up as an Army brat and always wanted to be a police officer. And in college, after I was San Jose State in California, had a professor that had been a police officer, and he encouraged me to join. So I joined. And first lesson in leadership was, I had a sergeant named Nishihara. Don't know where he is today. Great guy. We always used to carry a copy of the California Penal Code with us as we're out there. You know, Oakland can be a pretty violent city. We had a huge prostitution problem, you know, in one of the areas that I worked, and we knew the prostitution code. But in my zeal as a young rookie officer at the age of 21, I found a penal code section that said, when 2 or more people are gathered in a public place to commit a crime, boom, you know, that violates the law. So I said, voila, that's great. I'm going to. And I remember at the time, I was still learning, and even the criminals knew the penal codes that they were routinely arrested for. So when I arrested them for this particular one, they looked at me like, basically, we don't know that one. Why are you arresting us? And about an hour later, I get a notification from Sergeant Nishihara, says, hey, I need to meet you. Okay, so that's never good. And I mean, he was a great guy, but it's never good when you get, and he called me and said, look, what you did was you invoked the Riot Act, you know, for these 2 prostitutes. And so, you know, we had to cut them loose. Now, point is, he could have gone 2 ways at that point, right? He could have said, you know, really jam me up and said, don't ever do it again. And you just need to tighten up, Mike. And, you know, if you do it again, you know. But what he said was, yes, you made a mistake. And yes, don't do it again. But also, he said, I understand why you did it. I understand the rationale behind it. And if you have questions about this, or these kind of things, just come to me or come to a veteran officer, right? My point is that I remember this is what, 2022, and I remember this to this day, because I could have been very risk averse and gun shy going forward, but because of his approach to kind of balancing the sort of slapping your hand, but also leaving you there with your ego and your humanity intact, and the willingness to go forward and hopefully do no harm, was really an abject lesson for me at the tender age of 21. And while I was a cop, I read a book about the CIA, sort of the origins of the CIA. Eventually went across the Bay Bridge. Believe it or not, CIA actually had a presence in the federal building. And so I joined up, and it was kind of during the Reagan kind of push for getting more military, law enforcement, et cetera. And I got into the CIA and had a great career. Spent the first 6 years with their Office of Security, which does a lot of things I did at Microsoft in terms of investigations. And I ended up eventually on the security detail for the head of the CIA, who was a cabinet level official under Reagan, and that was a kick. But at some point, I went over to sort of the dark side, as we call it, the DO operations director at clandestine services. So that's where all the spy stuff happens. You know, that hallway that you went to that you weren't supposed to go to. And I did a lot of things, mostly involved in counterterrorism. So worked with a lot of foreign police, military groups to target various terrorist groups and hopefully keep them from doing bad things to good people. But when it comes to leadership, my first foray into leadership was I was in a unit about 1986 to 88. My boss then, a guy named Bill Cervinac, who I mentioned in the book, unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. He brought me in and said, I'm going to make you a team leader for this group that we were involved in. And I said, lesson you got to learn is now it's no longer about you. You have to learn to be selfless, not selfish. And what he meant was, as a leader, you're always wanting to grow your career, right? No matter where you are, you want to grow your career, you want to get promoted, you want to continue to advance. But your focus now is on your troops, your team. They come first. Their care, their feeding, their performance, and at times their personal issues now land on your plate. If you do right by them, they'll do right by you. But I see too many folks in leadership positions, and I make a distinction between leaders and managers in terms of managers get things done, but they don't necessarily want to actually do that, the mentoring piece, the care and feeding piece. You have to have that conscious, decision to go that route and to be selfless. And I remember him telling me that as a young operations officer at CIA, leading my first team, and that's something that stuck with me the rest of my life. And it certainly should be baked in the DNA of any leader. Go forward. So 22 years, and then eventually made the transition to Microsoft. I actually, the first year I was running the executive protection team for Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer and the execs at Microsoft, because I'd done a bit of that. And this was actually Bill when we finished up he finished up his time at Microsoft, and he gave a party for all the people who supported him. And that was a wonderful time. But a year later, I became chief security officer. That's the way it works in the enterprise world. And I was called into my boss and said, hey, you are now the chief security officer. And I took over a worldwide global operation to protect our employees. So it speaks for itself, right? You go as opposed to let's go, right? You have to be willing to do what your team does, no matter how high you get in your career. Make sure you always understand the people that are making you look successful. The people who are doing the work every single day, the hard work. That means getting out and speaking to them. The old management by walking around, it's amazing how that's not done, and you need to get out there. There's a great story about Colin Powell, who I was able to introduce at this one conference a few years ago, which is one of the highlights of my career. And when he was Secretary of State, analysts at the State Department building would be amazed because he'd just show up at their desks and start talking to them, right? I mean, to them, that made their day. I mean, this is Colin Powell, right? So your ability to connect with your team on a regular basis means everything to them. So never forget that, while you are the boss and your job is to call the ball when it comes to strategy and the direction of your particular enterprise, you make sure that you're selfless and you're serving them as well as they serve you. Okay. You can go past that. Mentoring is really important, I think. I did a lot of things at CIA. I took off from operations just for a few years, went into their personnel shop, helped set up their first mentoring program. Then I became a big fan of mentoring. I think it's really important. And so throughout my career, I not only mentored, but I was mentored. And I still am to this day. I still have people I refer to as mentors who I bounce things off of. And this is really important because I always say you learn as much from your mentees as hopefully they learn from you. So if mentoring is not part of what you're doing, and you have the inclination and the opportunity, you should avail yourselves of that opportunity. Because mentors have meant a lot to me. I already talked about that. I'd rather get into Q&A at some point. And this is a lifelong journey where it never ends, continuous improvement. You're never there. The day you think you're there is the day you probably stop learning and growing as a leader. So, you just keep going forward. To this day, I'm still learning and growing as a leader. I'm podcasting now, or writing, which I never did before. I'm trying to stretch myself in areas and flex muscles I never had before, even though I'm retired, because I think it's important to keep sharp. And then I think there's a book called What Got Us Here, Won't Get You There by William Goldsmith, a leadership author. And the idea is that never sit on your laurels, be proud of the accomplishments that you've made, but always make sure you're pushing forward and thinking about the next, transformational thing that you could do for you and your team and your troops, and always keep pushing that direction. Okay. And then this is where you can find the podcasts. And I've got all these cards here if you want to contact me. And but we're podcasting on a regular basis. I'm doing blogs. I've got a standing column with the Las Vegas Sun that I'm doing. But anyway, I know this is fast, but hopefully it gives you an idea of my career and what I think about leadership, and all of you are leaders, like I said, in your own right. And I am honored and humbled to be here with all of you all. So if you have any questions, Question. Yep.
Hi, Mike. I'm Allison. Thank you so much for speaking to our group. I was just curious for your perspective on leadership outside of kind of traditional leadership positions. I've held those before and ended up kind of stepping back to the actual, I don't know if you want to call it grunt work, because I just personally got more satisfaction out of that and felt that I could better serve the company and the team by leading by example in those roles versus, stepping up through the ranks. And I was just kind of curious on your perspective on that kind of path as far as your experience and research goes.
Yeah, great question, Allison. Yeah, I agree with you. You don't have to have a title to be a leader, right? You can be a leader as an individual contributor by your actions, like you said, and how you comport yourself and how you help others. I took a step back once too as an individual contributor. I enjoyed it too. The only thing the boss that I had was a nice person, but ineffective. And because I was an individual contributor, other than talking to him, I had no ability to influence. And that was probably the most frustrating part. So I went back into kind of the traditional thing, but you're right. And that's something, that's a lesson learned for all individual contributors too, right? You be a leader in your own right. Oh.
Hello, so that's odd. I'm Air Force. I'm actually a flight commander. I have 22 people under me.
Okay.
And
thank you for your service.
thank you. And sometimes it can kind of feel weird when you're kind of that lower level leader and you've got a lot of stuff going on up top that trickles all the way down to you. But it can sometimes negatively impact those people under you, and then they talk to you. So you have to kind of mediate the demands from like the larger organization, but also try to protect your own people. And sometimes it feels like you're caught in between, and you almost have to fight up in order to take care of those under you. What's some advice you have for a leader caught kind of in that position who's like, I don't know what to do because I need to take care of my people. They are getting the mission done, but they're still kind of getting like swatted around a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think we've all gone through that to a certain extent. Obviously, first be very transparent and honest with them in terms of the fact that there's only so much you can do, at as you said, our pay grade, right? And at the end of the day, you can do as much as you can to try to influence the higher ups and let them know the realities of the situation. And they're either going to listen or they're not going to listen. Hopefully some will have a sympathetic ear. But at the meantime, if they don't listen, worst case scenario, then, you make it clear to your team that even though there are things that you can't change, you hear them, and you're always going to be an advocate for them, that you're fighting. I think for my team, I remember there were times when I couldn't get to where we wanted to go for some reason. If they see you at least fighting the good fight, it goes a long way on their part to think, okay, maybe things won't change, but she's continuing to fight and continue to advocate for us. And that goes a long way to helping morale.
All the way to the other end of the world over here.
Briefly, what is your take on some of the technological challenges and threats posed by China?
Oh, yeah, that could go for a couple hours. I mean, obviously they're very offensive in terms of how they view technology. They're weaponizing technology, obviously against us, and the West in general, and any competitors from a business perspective. And they have the government is actually actively doing that, backing them up. I think the challenge is especially is for U.S. businesses like Microsoft, because we know that doing business in China means that we're going to bleed some IP just because we're there. That's just the fact of the matter. I think the challenge is to be realistic about what their intentions are, and to not have your head in the sand. And the other thing I think is that we should make sure that we have, from our end, just a united way of defending ourselves. There are too many entities in the government that are cyber this and cyber that. And I'm not sure they're all entirely connected. The Chinese are fighting as with one army. We need to fight with one army too. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Michael. Don't go away. Michael. I'd like to present you with our Soul Power Award. What we do for our speakers is present a pair of shoes to a needy child in your name.
Oh, wow, awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. Meeting adjourned.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week. Take care.